episode 492 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. I will be talking about tonight's Impact 1000, the historic 1000th episode of Impact Wrestling on Access TV, featuring Feast or Fired, the return of Team 3D, and the X Division Championship in the main event as Chris Sabin challenges Lio Rush right here, right now. 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hello, Wrestling Fanatics. Welcome to the 360 Wrestling Fanatic episode 492 on this Thursday night. As I said in that little opening preview there, I will be talking about tonight's Impact Wrestling, Impact 1000, which was on Access TV tonight. Haven't had a chance to watch Ring of Honor on Honor Club. Might try to talk about that episode tomorrow morning on the Friday episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans. But for now, let's talk Impact 1000. We had the return of Feast or Fired tonight. And in this match was PCO, Joe Hendry, Yua Uemura, Johnny Swinger, Eric Young, Moose, Crazy Steve, Brian Myers, Steve Macklin, Heath, Jay Vidal, John Schuyler, Johnny Bravo, Kevin Knight, Kushida, Laredo Kid, John Schuyler, Chris Bay, Gupinder Gujar, and Sami Callihan. This was a pretty crazy match as usual. The Feast or Fired it is Chris Bay from ABC getting briefcase number 3. Crazy Steve gets briefcase number 1 after he stabbed Brian Myers with a fork. Briefcase number 4 goes to Yua Uemura with an assist from his Joya partner Joe Hendry. And case number 2 is originally grabbed by Steve Macklin, but the rules of Feast or Fired are you don't only have to get it from the pole, or the structure in this case, but you also have to take it all the way down to the floor. Steve Macklin had the briefcase in the ring, and he was surrounded on each side by wrestlers, and then all of a sudden we see the return of the War Machine Rhino, who Macklin actually took out a little while back. Rhino gores Macklin, sends the briefcase flying outside of the ring, and then at this time it is caught by Moose. So Moose gets possession of briefcase number 4, and the presentations of the briefcases, they'll be opened next week, which I think I forgot to mention tonight, that this is a 2-part episode of Impact 1000, actually. The second part will air next week on Access TV. So we will find out what is in each of the briefcases. And like I have said, I've been able to avoid any spoilers online, so I do not know what's going to happen going into the second part of Impact 1000 next week. But it's pretty interesting here, because you have 3 guys that are in tag teams. Chris Bay, Yua Uemura now teaming with Joe Hendry, and Moose teaming with Brian Myers. Crazy Steve, no longer a part of a tag team, turning on Black Taurus. Now this new darker heel, Crazy Steve. You never know what this could be. You would think Crazy Steve could maybe get the X Division title shot. And the others, Moose, Uemura, and Chris Bay, will either get an Impact World Championship match, an Impact World Tag Team Championship match, or will be fired. And next up, we have the Desi Hit Squad in the ring. Rohit Raju and Champagne Singh. They say nobody has done more for the tag teams in Impact than them. And then we see the return of Team 3D, Bully Ray, and Devon make their way to the ring. And it's official, Team 3D versus the Desi Hit Squad. Team 3D gets the win with the 3D. And then Team 3D put Rohit Raju through a table. And once again, as usual, I forgot the Feast or Fired match. I'd probably give that 3 out of 5 ring bells. And then the Team 3D versus Desi Hit Squad match. That was a pretty good one. I'll give that also 3 out of 5 ring bells. And then we have the walking weapon, Josh Alexander, in the back. Get into it with the Rascals a little bit. And then Alexander is in the ring. And then he is interrupted by Alex Shelley. And Alex Shelley was more kind of a heel tonight. And then the Rascals come in, attack Alexander, and attack Shelley too. But then Shelley gets up, walks away, and does not help Alexander at all. And then in the back we see Shark Boy and Trey Miguel tell him that he will go one-on-one with Josh Alexander next week. And then Santino Marella says that he's a natural. And then we see Kenny King with Sheldon Jean, and he demands a rematch against Tommy Dreamer for the Impact Digital Media Championship. But Santino says he can't do it. But he knows someone he can face next week, and that is Eric Young. Next up, we have Eddie Edwards and Alicia Edwards, Ride or Die, taking on Frankie Kazarian and Tracy Brooks. Kazarian and Brooks get the win with Fade to Black. Pretty good match here. I'd say 2.5 out of 5 ring bells. And then after the match, Kazarian points to the video screen. And then we get another Impact Hall of Fame announcement for this year. Tracy Brooks going into the 2023 Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame. And her son is there with them to celebrate with them. So this is already the most inductees that Impact Wrestling has had in their Hall of Fame for 1 year. Already announced has been Mike Tenay and Don West. And now it is time for the main event of Impact 1000 for the Impact Wrestling X Division Championship. Lio Rush defending against Chris Sabin. Really good match here, I should say. Great main event. And Chris Sabin gets the win, becoming a 10-time X Division champion. Really great main event. I'll give it 4 out of 5 ring bells. And this could set up for what a lot of people have talked about before. Chris Sabin holding the X Division championship and then cashing in option C at Bound for Glory and have the Motor City Machine Guns face off in the main event for the Impact World Championship. As of right now, that does look like it could be a possibility. So that was Impact Wrestling 1000, the 1000th episode of Impact Wrestling. Hope everyone enjoyed it tonight. Also, I hope everyone enjoyed this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I will try to be back tomorrow with a new episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic to talk all about WWE Friday Night SmackDown and AEW Rampage. But before then, I'll be back tomorrow morning with the Friday episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans. So hopefully you all will be too. And also, now available is episode 6 of 360 Anything Goes. Talking about the Three Stooges, one of my favorite shorts. So if you can, check that out and give it a listen. Also, the question of the week you can still answer. Hashtag Ask360. Very easy question. It's simple. All you have to do is answer it. Who is your favorite pro wrestler of all time? Not hard. I don't know why nobody's answered it yet. Just either right here in the comment sections on Spreaker, YouTube, or whichever podcast app you listen to on. Or Twitter, X, whichever it's called these days, at 360 Wrestling Pod. Just use the hashtag Ask360. Also, if you want, you can email me your answer, 360wrestlingpodcasts@gmail.com. And that is all for tonight. Thank you once again for tuning in. Hope to talk to everyone tomorrow morning for GMWF. But until then, I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.